Um, right now, we did a show about this the other day. The about about the cathedral, and a listener suggested that in some way, shape, or form, because we know the Catholic Church has taken a number of hits financially this year because of the scandals, and they were basically suggesting that it was almost like an arson job to collect the insurance. Has there been any reports about how much money uh, the cathedral was insured for?
No, you know.
Uh, what was the so what was the amount? How much was it insured for?
I have no idea.
Oh, no idea. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I thought. I mean, I tried to find it myself. Couldn't find it. But now I just want to transgress to the yellow vest. Last month I tried to contact you. I guess there was more protests, larger protests. Um, I saw reports. I think it's called 24 France. I guess your big TV show over there, and they were suggesting that the momentum of the yellow vest is slowing down. Now, have you seen that?
Well, they say that from day one, so it's
more propaganda. I see.
That's the media which are saying this. Now, how the yellow vest is effective on the ground, it's very, like always, very difficult to identify. We just know that the violence against the people are just increasing.
Now, when you say violence,
week after week,
who's doing the violence against the people? Is it the police or who?
Yeah, the police. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, but they haven't brought in the military yet. Because remember the last time we talked, my biggest fear was that some way the government would maneuver the military to intervene, and you really reassured us all that the military would not pick up arms against its fellow citizens it's sworn to protect.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, and they better not doing this because that would be really the end of the republic.
But you're still confident that the military, that's all I just don't want to see people needlessly hurt or injured. You know what I mean? Over a situation where honestly, and when we're looking at the referendum, I do want to talk about that. In terms of what's coming the way of humanity as far as AI and robotic systems, don't you see in the referendum kind of like a safeguard for humanity to ensure that we preserve ourselves? Uh-oh. Losing. I got you back. You there, Roman? Oh. Oh my gosh. Facebook is evil. Hold on. Not now. I'm using another system, guys, to call. I don't understand. Yes. We just lost communication through the Facebook. I don't know. Exit. I'll try back momentarily. That often happens. Sometimes, I guess, when certain regions, the thing just kicks off. But in the meantime, hold on. We still have more friends out there, guys. I don't understand. Hold on 1 second. Let me clear this. I'm going to give a call real quick to Coach Adula. I'm trying to get in all my Facebook might just be offline then, guys. In that case, this is going to be a extremely short vid. Hold on. Let me. I'm gonna give you a. Hold on. There we go. I just want to see if it'll work. I'm calling you up, Brother Cobra. Can you hear me?
Yo, what's up, Brother Pat?
Yes, so it is working. But
yes, sir.
The sound quality's there. You know, that was a nice comment. You know, thoughts and prayers for the people of Paris and Notre Dame. You know, that's
yeah, baby, though.
That's decent. I'm going to try to call dude back up, but
right.
I don't think it's going to work. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. I think that.
Yeah. So, Brother Pat, you have an internet issue?
Yes, that's what I think is going on. I'm thinking because even your sound is coming in and out, and you're literally like right across the way, you know. And I'm trying to contact people on the other side of the planet, and Facebook, you know, isn't a viable telecommunication source for real.
No,
but it works in a pinch for overseas stuff. But yeah, started talking about the cathedral a little bit and the price of it. You know, I mean, I know us peasants aren't supposed to know, but geez, that's when all the communication issues started hitting me. So
yeah.
So what's been going on in your world, man? What's happening on the new tracks, the new album, the new video?
You know what I'm saying, Brother Pat? I got a lot of things that I'm working on. I have a show that's coming up sometime next month. I'll have a flyer or advertising for the show at Pops. It'll be sometime next month. And then I have a few events after that, so my shows are going to be pretty consistent throughout the spring and the summer. I have an album that's completed already, and I'll be getting the artwork and stuff done on that. And then I'm going to have a press release coming out within the next few weeks, advertising for the album, letting people know where they can buy it, where they can stream it, and then after that, I'm going to be working on getting a video for the album, at least a single from the album. So kind of advertise that. So I got some things cracking, man.
Well, good, brother.
In a few weeks, we'll see some stuff coming out.
All right. Well, let me go up the line. Roman just tried to call me back, and we're gonna carry on.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Hello, Roman. Yes, we got you back. Having some sort of technical difficulties. One of the chatters in the room wanted to say, my thoughts and prayers are with the people of Paris and Notre Dame. They're trying to send positive vibrations over there. You know, when we have these situations, this is the time to come together.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
So now, can we talk more about the referendum while I got you on the line? You know, I kind of really, well, I was saying earlier, As we see the challenges of AI, possibly even the singularity occurring in our lifetimes, do you not see an importance for us to get some sort of, I guess, agreement or accord on paper to where all of humanity is covered, not just one individual nation?
What do you mean covered for what?
Well, covered from exploitation or possible extermination due to being obsolete, no longer needed for labor, things of that nature.
Well, I don't think this has any chance to happen because of the nature of reality. Like a lot of people which are ignorant about the nature of reality think that we live on a planet and that the sound is really bad.
And equal. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to take you off of that. Let me just put you on speaker. All right, this should be a little. Actually, it should be a lot better. This is sound.
Very quiet.
Now, there it is, right there.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Are we live? Are we?
Yes, we're actually live. We're just. Like...
Oh, okay. You didn't tell me.
Oh, I thought I did. Oh my.
That's okay. That's okay. No worries.
My sincere. I mean, at least we wasn't talking nothing, no state secrets. But no, I like what you was talking about, the perception that most people have pertaining to reality, pertaining to how we actually interact with each other. I mean, does that fall underneath the category of like subconscious assumptions we make?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that in terms of like just realizing the nature of reality. Most of the people think that this reality is real, where the truth is that it's actually not, and it's a very persistent illusion. It's a very persistent hologram, let's say, a holographic reality that gives the illusion of reality. And because people are ignorant about the true nature of reality, they think that things can go bad, which in a way could happen, of course, but everything that is bad is there to send us a message about what needs to be changed and how we should behave in a different way. So until we're going to really ask the true question, which are basically what is the substance of energy, for example, what is the sublayer, substance, I don't find any other word, of an atom, for example. Like, until we're going to go to that space and finally realize that none of that exists, that the more we're going to go into matter and the less we're going to see tangible things, until we're going to realize that the more we're going to seek into ourselves and the less it becomes real, the less it becomes separate, the more it unifies. Until we're going to make that reality our day-to-day reality and our day-to-day life, people will still be taken by these emotions of anger and fear and all those dramas that are so easily distracting us from the true seeking of the essence of who we are. So every time that we like put our attention into something outside, we just don't realize that it's just a mirror reflection of who we are, and it's just an information. It's just like something that is there to make you aware of what's going on inside of you, and instead of focusing on that, you should actually focus on what it triggers inside of you. Like, why are you feeling so disconnected, or why are you feeling so upset about a specific situation? Because at the end of the day, none of that really exists, none of that really matter. Because if you never really go into the deep question of knowing who you truly are, what is the true essence of who you are, then like all that doesn't have any sense, doesn't have any meanings. You know, like religion tried to answer many questions, and there are many, many other questions that they don't even scratch the surface on.
Exactly.
And distract us with a lot of fake solutions to problems that doesn't even exist. Like if you just take the example of paradise, for example, paradise and hell, it's a very surprising theory coming from a religion, because religion is about determining like what is the purpose of life and existence. Like dimensional research is more like the work of science, let's say, like mathematics or science. But religion doesn't have any problem telling you that when you're going to die, you're going to go into a different dimension that is called heaven or hell, whatever. And they're going to give you a lot of different definition about what's going to happen there, without any proof, of course, because it's all about belief, it's all about faith. By the way, when you study a little bit the etymology of the word faith, faith doesn't mean believing in what you don't know. Faith only means loyalty. It's very important for people to understand that the word faith doesn't mean believing blindly. It actually means being loyal. And religion comes from the word religare, which doesn't mean connecting people. It actually means attaching people to. So it's, again, another misunderstanding. Like religare, attaching to, something that, that you bond with, okay, that you're not free to go from. It doesn't mean that it's going to connect the world and everyone's going to be happy because they're going to be connected. No, it just means that you're bonded to something and that you have to be loyal to that thing through the faith. So it's actually something that is removing freedom from yourself. It's actually removing one level of free will by attaching you to something and from where you can't even escape because you have to be loyal to it. So it's very important for people to understand that. Sorry?
How would you justify morality? People often say without these religious texts or dogma or traditions, people have a hard time finding a sense of morality or norms or mores.
Yeah, because morality at the end of the day doesn't exist. You cannot apply any laws at every situation, because every time that the situation changed, then the laws needs to change, Like sometimes, like you shouldn't kill. Well, sometimes you should kill. Like it's not something that you can say, well, you shouldn't ever kill, because it comes into that situation where we are today, where we can only like give birth, but we can't even die properly. We can't even choose when we want to die, how we want to die, as if it was something normal. And they use moral for that. So, well, that's a weird moral. It's a very weird moral, because you decide who has the right to live, who has the right to die. You don't bring any respect to any other form of life, no matter if it's vegetal, mineral, or animal. You decide that humans are the ultimate state of existence and that its life is the only one that needs to be preserved. Well, when you see some people at a certain age, and they should have died many years ago, and it's just torture. It's just a torture to keep them alive. And because we're not like emotionally stable enough to realize that life is a part of death and death is a part of life, and dying is not a wrong thing, like making love is not a wrong thing, like those are the two taboo of our society. Those are the two main forces of life, of existence, of nature. And they are the two biggest taboo that we have in our civilization, which is like a disgrace if you think about it. Like we have a taboo on the source of life, which is sex, and we have a taboo on the origin of life, which is death. Like the origin of life is death, because nothing ever is created, nothing is ever produced. It's all transformed all the time. So life is coming from the death of something else, and this is why by killing an animal or killing a plant, you can maintain your organism in life. It's by taking the life of something else that you actually can maintain your body in life. So people don't have any problem taking the life of a sovereign plant or sovereign animal. But as soon as we have to talk about their own lives, like, no, my life is sacred. So, well, bullshit. All the lives are sacred, not yours more than anyone. So, like, just deal with it, princess, and just come back to our reality, because this is just denial, constant denial.
But do you often find these people who who we're basically talking about, like in a metaphorical way, do these people tend to be basically like fascists or communistic in their political approach?
Well, first of all, I don't like categorizing people into Nazis or fascists or communists, because a human is much more complex than just an ideology. Like, ideology are there to reduct human to the smallest and less interesting expression of themselves, which is political servitude.
Right.
And I hate having to reduce people to that perspective, so I will not go in that space. But if you try to say that the people who are in this space are more prone to like hide behind extreme ideology of survival.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the more you're afraid of dying, the more you're going to be extreme in your attempt to prolong your life,
Right.
which is a useless way of thinking, because life is life and you're gonna die anyway. So like, it's not about how long are you going to live, it's about the quality of every moment. Are you living intensely your life? Are you like living something that makes your experience enjoyable for you and for the people that you love? And are you basing your life on compassion, and are you thriving on doing good around you? Or are you so obsessed about the idea of not dying that you're going to make everyone miserable about this idea? Because this is what Nazi fascism and communism is about. It's about preserving an elite that is going to feast on everyone's back, which is the same case with capitalism today, while everyone is miserable today. Well, that's not my definition of survival. Like, if we want to survive, we need to survive all together. It needs to be an experience that needs to be balanced at every level. And I'm not a big fan of extreme, no matter if it's religious, no matter if it's political, no matter if it's ideological. Like, every extreme is wrong. It's just wrong. Like you can live an extreme life. That's your problem. You know, like, you do whatever you want. You want to be a porno star, for example, which I believe is quite extreme. Well, do whatever you want. You want, that's your body, that's your experience. As long as you're not impeding on everyone's free will, and as long as you're expressing your free will in a decent way, then do whatever you want. I don't have any taboo in that space. But yeah, I don't have much respect for people who are putting their life before anything else, because at the end of the day, they create an imbalance, and their life is connected to mine, is connected to yours, is connected to everyone. So every time that someone is going to put their life prior to anything else, they're going to create an imbalance in my reality, and I don't like that.
So how would we deal as a society with people then with mental illness, say the criminally insane, or how would we deal with people who just actually, for lack of better words, enjoy hurting other human beings and animals and everything else? How do we deal with those people?
Well, there's many steps that needs to be reached. Like, the first one is to do to those people what they're doing to others, and that's the only way that nature found to teach people how to behave. You know, like, if you want to use force against others, then don't complain if one day others are going to use force against you, because that's the nature of reality. So if people are taking pleasure in making others suffer, then they need to face like the same situation to teach them what it is, which is compassion. Like, it's about realizing what it is to be in someone else's perspective. Because from your own perspective, maybe those people are honestly thinking that this is not that bad. You know, probably because they have been through, or probably because they've been through, and they find that it's totally fair for them to torture others because they've been tortured. You know, like, it's okay. They just forgot that they've been through that, and they haven't learned the lesson, obviously, and they just want to replicate it to keep that energy going. And the only way to stop it is to make the people realize, and I love that word realize, because it becomes real, like, it becomes true, you know, that what you're doing has that specific colors and that specific impact on reality. And until the people can realize that, they will still think that this is okay for them to behave the way they behave. And yeah, there's no 1,000 different ways that reality found to educate people just by making them taste a little bit of their own medicine. And if after they do that, they still refuse to learn the lesson, then you just increase the pain, because that's what nature does. You know, like that's what nature does. Like you don't understand once, twice, 3 times. It's just coming back harder and harder and harder until you get to learn your lesson.
Eventually, you will crack, but from that point of your beginning on that journey to the point to where you get it, how many people have to be destroyed in your wake? And can that be somehow offset without throwing off balance? You know what I mean? Are there, in other words, use this for example. We all know that there's serial killers out there. What if there was a group of killers that hunted down the serial killers, and then there was a group of killers that hunted down those killers? I mean, where does it ultimately end?
Well, first of all, we need to agree on the definition of serial killer. Like, for example, Hillary Clinton and Obama, as far as I'm concerned, are serial killers.
Those are political leaders. I'm in a state of emergency.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to agree on the definition of the serial killer. If someone thinks that it's fine for them to decide who deserves to be alive and who deserves to die, then therefore, according to me, they fall into the category of serial killers. No matter who they are, no matter which statue they have, no matter like what legitimates their right to think the way they think. You know, like it doesn't matter. If you think that you have the right to define who deserves to live and who deserves to die, then you already are crossing a limit that you shouldn't cross.
But see, that's the purpose of the government, though. It's like the government's kind of sticky because don't they have the authority to...
No, government are here to govern. They're here to administrate. They took that right. They took that right to decide who deserves to live and who deserves to die. But originally, they were just the emergence of people's will, and they're here to organize people's life, and that's it. Okay, like if someone is doing something wrong, this is not their business. It's the justice that needs to decide according to laws that people agree with. Okay, it's not government that needs to decide who deserves to live and who deserves to die.
See, people are going to think that is anarchy. People have been conditioned to believe, Roman, that they have to bow down to their...
And people are perfectly allowed to be stupid. Like if they want to mix up things and decide that because government doesn't have the right to kill, then therefore it's going to be anarchy, then, well, like what can I do for them?
See, that's
if people want to think stupid, if the people want to mix up stuff, like if they want to hate fascist or Muslim, or if they want, like, that's their problem. It's not mine. Like I don't have to obey and comply with stupidity of people. Like my goal is to try to inspire people to think differently and to be better people. Like, I'm trying to bring common sense back into people's mind, but it's very difficult because you're fighting propaganda who convince people that black is white and white is black and death is life and life is death and lie is truth and truth is lie, and it's very confusing. So you need to bring back coherence in all this. Okay, like it's never has been the job of the government to decide who has to live and who has to die. Never, ever. And if you believe that, then sorry, you've been brainwashed.
Oh, I totally agree. I have a question from the chat room. Well, and a statement from Brother Nick. He's sending out peace, love, and light to everyone. And from Sister Hunt, please ask him if his son had been killed, would he have the same approach?
What do you mean?
Like
which approach?
I think people are taking almost like you have a hippie 60 kumbaya, everyone should love each other and let kind of nature sort it out. She's asking if your child was murdered by somebody, would you still have that same kumbaya approach, or would you want to bring the person that...
I didn't have a kumbaya approach. I didn't have a kumbaya approach. When did I have a kumbaya approach?
Well,
I think what?
Because people hear some of your spiritual...
Like when you ask me how do we teach things to people, what did I say? I say, like, if the people don't learn, then we need to show them of their own medicine. And if they still refuse to learn, then we have to increase the dose. So I was quite clear, like, I'm not a kumbaya guy, I'm not like peace and love stuff. No, not at all. If someone is raping kids and like, well, like, you think that you can do that, well, we're going to show you what it is to be raped, and then we're going to increase the dose if you still don't understand that that's not the way to do. And if you still don't understand it, we have to put you down. So when did I say that this is when I said like it's not the government's role to do it, I said it's not the government's role to do it. It's the whole civilization that needs to understand that. When I said that we have a taboo about death and a taboo about life, I'm actually saying as well that if someone wants to die, we should assist the person to die. I'm not a kumbaya loving thing at all.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we got that clarified. And I think that honestly the listeners are relieved to know that you have that type of views, because I'm a firm believer in taking care of one's family, taking care of oneself, defending oneself with all means, intellectual assets, physical assets. But the thing is that we have to get to a point where humanity realizes we're working together.
Yeah, we're working together, but it doesn't mean that we need to forgive everything to everyone. But in the meantime, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't understand that what is outside is that which is inside. So we are projecting in our reality what we need to face, because we can't face it internally. And there's huge dimension into that, because like when you want to kill the one that is in front of you, you actually want to kill that thing that is inside of you. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand that what we project on this reality is what we can't face inside of us. And when there's another of us who wants this to happen, then we have a big event happening. Okay, like for example, that cathedral in Paris, like we're like, okay, we want to be purified. We want to let go of our purity and our pain. And guess what happens? Suddenly that event is happening. And that event is there to express an archetype that is there in our whole consciousness, global consciousness, and we're here to express it. And as we can't fix it internally, then we need to manifest it in this life, so we can like live the experience of facing it in this reality. So again, like to take that example of if your children has been damaged by that thing. Well, first of all, why your children has been damaged? Like you can think that this is just coincidence. You can think that it's bad luck. Just my kid has been in the wrong place in the wrong moment. Or you could actually take responsibility as well and say, well, maybe there's dark shadow inside of me, and I manifested something that I refuse to face. Because like it's horrible to having to face that thing. Like, and so it's so much easier to blame the person that is in front of you instead of just like facing the fact that maybe you've been neglected, or maybe you have this darkness inside of you that it's very, very difficult to face. And that when you manifest this in this reality, like, okay, well, now you don't have the choice. You can't escape. You have to face it. It's there. And you have to deal with it. Again, we're going back into the same question, which is the nature of this reality. And no one's really understand and wants to spend the time to understand what this is all about. It's so complicated, and it's but trust me, it's going to happen. Like we're going through now massive changes in our consciousness, and more and more people are going to wake up to some basic aspect of this reality, and it's not going to be pretty. Like it's going to be very shocking. It's going to be very disturbing. A lot of people thought that that's fine, like I can just wait and wait and wait and wait. And well, it's not about that. Like reality is not about just living a peaceful experience. It's about growing up. It's about learning. It's about progressing. It's about making choice and living consequences. It's about living many things and having some regrets and remorse and learn and grow. And it's about all that. It's not just about sitting down and watching TV the whole day. And the people who choose to do that are going to face massive consequences. Because not only they're dumbing down their own consciousness and their own perspective on reality, but they are damaging their own capacity to choose. Like when we, for example, blame people for Macron, for example, for electing Macron. Like we say Macron is an asshole and everything, but wait a second, he's been elected by people. He's been elected by people. Like, we knew he was an asshole before that. And some people just decided that that was not a big deal. Well, now they're facing the truth. Yes, when you make a decision, when you decide to vote for someone, there are consequences.
Yes.
When you decide to vote for W. Bush, for example, like, which I hope most of the people understand that he was an alcoholic, he was a stupid, he was like whatever dumb ass people. Like, well, if you decide to vote for that person, you take the responsibility to give your power away to that person to do whatever this person will want to do with it. So you are co-responsible of this behavior, not only because you didn't stop it, because you intentionally decided to give away your power to someone else. So you are also responsible for all the millions of children and people who died, and the bomb that has been triggered through the person that you give your power to. And that's something that people don't want to face, of course. It's going to be so easy to say, oh, well, like, you're an asshole, you're a bastard, you're blah, blah, blah. And it's so much better than the opponent, because, you know, the opponent was so much worse, you know. And, you know, does it really change anything? Seriously? The fact is that you contribute to that system. If you work within this system, if you live in this system without trying to challenge it and change it, you're part of the problem. Okay, and that's fine. You know, it's fine. Like, we also need to learn to forgive ourselves. We are only who we are. We can only do what we can. But starting by realizing this, starting to face the truth, no matter how hard it is the key to grow. Okay, so day by day you can forgive yourself. Day by day you can try to become a better person. You can take responsibility. You can become sovereign. You can grow, which is what this is all about. But as soon as you're going to, for example, rely on something else like religion, like Jesus or Bush or Obama or Clinton or whoever that will have authority over you, always remember that you give your authority away. You always gave your authority away. And that's something that people are really too prompt to forget about. Like, you gave your energy away. Like, hold it. This is yours. This is your choice. This is your life. Again, like, it's not about how long you're going to live. It's about the quality of your living. It's about the quality of your choice. It's about the quality of your intention. It's about what you brought to this world. Okay? You know what? Because no matter if you believe in life after death or not, what you do right now matters.
Yes.
It matters.
A great deal. More than
most people realize. And it's not just about, like, taking profit for yourself. It's not just about, like, living a happy life on your side of the world and not caring about anything else. Because every time that you take more for you and you not give enough in return, then you create an imbalance.
Yes.
And if you follow just the butterfly effect, like, your imbalance can create a tsunami somewhere on Earth.
Yes, it does. It certainly does. Like, people don't realize, for instance, France has 14 African countries that has to pay the nation of France basically restitution for colonization. That right there perpetuates a system to where the continent of Africa stays remarkably impoverished, thus allowing companies like IG Farben, Monsanto, and others to go in to extract chemicals and elements, manufacture them into chemicals such as Roundup that basically is poisoning everybody.
Yep.
This is
That's an example. That's an example of this butterfly effect. Yeah.
This is what we need to change, though, Roman. We can change this just by changing the way we communicate with each other, the words we choose and elect to use in our day-to-day. Because would you not agree that basically all the power on earth comes from words?
Yeah, and it's come also with the kindness that you can have toward yourself. Because if you're not capable of protecting yourself and even recognize who you are, like even being comfortable with yourself, like how can you be comfortable with others?
Right.
If you don't love yourself, if you don't like get to know who you are, the substance of who you are, how can you even want to like see value anywhere else on earth?
But then
Because yourself is the most precious things. It's the most valuable thing that you have power upon. If you do not spend the time, spend the energy, spend the energy to like know who you are, and fulfill that question about like what you are, what you want, what makes you good, what makes you bad, and all those things. Like it's you can't bring a peaceful world. It's impossible.
Is it impossible because people believe it to be impossible, or is it impossible because it's truly impossible?
It's impossible because you're gonna chase dreams. You're gonna constantly spend your time chasing dreams, because if you don't know who you are, then you're gonna live someone else's life. You're not gonna live your life. You know, if you don't know who you are, then you're gonna think that having children is good for you. Well, the truth is that children are a fantastic tool, let's call it tool, to know who you are better. Like they're coming from inside of you and they're manifested in this reality to challenge you in many, many different ways. But some people like work with it, some people don't want to work with it. But if you never question it, if you never challenge the idea, if you never, like if you only made baby because you had to make baby because someone one day told you that you need to make some study, that you need to have a job, that you need to have a wife, that you need to have some kids, and you need to have a house, and you need. Like you actually didn't live your own life.
Right.
You lived someone else's life.
Absolutely. I'm 100%, guys. Listen to it. When kids come, your life ends. When the children come, your life ends for sure. But people don't understand that, Roman. They don't get that.
They make kids because they just want to have a little bit of fun for a few minutes, and then they end up with babies, and they don't know what to do with it. Well, first of all, you should have thought about before, and second, like having a job, being in a relationship, buying a house, all that. Are you sure, 100%, that this is what you want from your life? Are you sure? Because if you don't, like, just question which life are you living. Is it really your life that you're living, or is it someone else's dream? So that's what I'm saying. If you're not doing that job of knowing who you are, you will, there's 90%, 100% chance that you're going to end up living someone else's life.
And it will be a miserable experience for the individual. Is that what you're suggesting?
And you're going to blame the world, and you're going to blame your husband or your wife, and you're going to blame your boss, and you're going to blame whoever. Because you, at the end of the day, would have never taken responsibility for your choice, because you never had to challenge your choice. So, to the question, like, how can we bring better peace to the world? Like, there's no 100 answer. People need to know themselves.
Well,
people need to sit down with themselves. People need to learn to meditate. People need to learn to go back into their past and make peace with their past, and make peace with their future, and live the present. Because that's the only thing that exists right now at this particular moment. A second ago doesn't exist anymore. A second later, anything can happen. You know, like Facebook could cut up this conversation. You can get an accident or whatever. Anything can happen, you know, like the future is that dream that no one ever met, and the past is not here anymore. So why living in those spaces? Doesn't bring anything to the present. It's just bring more difficulties. That's it.
Well, that's because I think people enjoy the drama. I mean, think about it. If you're not spiritually centered, if you're not focused on any level, then all you have then at this point, Roman, is day-to-day drama, like the coffee talk drama. Bob did this, and that fills your body with stress. And in my opinion, if a person's filled with stress and they're consuming animals in a stressful situation, I think that is a contributor to diseases in our bodies.
Yeah, it could have many impacts. Yeah, of course. Because everything that is alive. Like everything that is conscious, and is consciousness, and it's carrying information. So you are carrying information, you are living information, and when you're going to bring this into your body, there's going to be interaction with it. So, there's no doubt about it.
Kind of on the science, or not science, but the sociological aspect of this. Let's say I was a rich wealthy businessman, and I came across you on the street, and we just had the conversation basically about reproductive choices that we just had. And I tell you, I look you in your eyes and I was like, son, I need you to reproduce because we are losing our people in Europe due to poor birth rate. What would you tell me?
I would tell that with the 7.5 billion human on this planet, our reproduction is not that much of the issue right now.
Wow. I mean, you're bringing the whole of humanity on that.
With 7.5 billion humans, like the survival of the human isn't that much the problem. It's all the other species which are in danger, not us.
Well, yeah. Well, think about
it. It's the fish, it's the birds, it's the wild animal. Like we are destroying everything. So it's not that much us that is.
Chicken. It's not the pig. Everything that we eat and consume, those animals are plentiful. But you're absolutely right. The ones that are in nature, that the sovereign animals. See, we have an attack on sovereignty in this society, in this so-called Western culture. They want and they seek actively to control both beast of the man of the land and the land itself. I really did believe that the United States government was the best government in the world at one point in time, because I was indoctrinated in a very rural conservative situation. But as you get out and you start to see other societies, other cultures, you start seeing basically the downfall. And that's a very tough thing for a lot of people to accept, that there is no one culture, there's no one government institution that has gotten it right. We have never seen the true government that should be of the people, for the people. Never in the history of humanity yet. And I do have hope that there is a government coming that will fit such a bill.
Well, for me, the only government that will care about people would be the government by the people, for the people. And that cannot be managed by one person or one group of person. It needs to be the people themselves who manage themselves, and we have the technology to do that, and that's what the RIC is about. The RIC is about people getting empowered through their own choice and facing the consequences of their choice as a civilization. It's not that much like a group of people telling to us what we need to think, how we need to think, what we need to do or not do. Like this is wrong. This is just wrong. So the government for the people, by the people mean what it means. It means government by the people. And that's what referendum is about. Referendum, and we have the technology today to make referendum for nearly everything. It could be done in just a few minutes if it was imposed to people, and everyone would be happy because, when you want something, then your voice is listened. You don't give your power away to someone else to make decisions on your behalf. You have to take responsibility for the shit that you brought to the world, and that's okay. Like, you can make mistakes and learn from your mistakes and forgive yourself for the mistakes that you did and learn and grow and become a better person. Where today we only ask people to be good slaves. That's it. Just be a good slave.
It's all right. I have a question from Sister Hunt in the chat room. How does he feel about depopulation and artificial intelligence? Now, we kind of went over the artificial intelligence earlier, but the depopulation.
Well, I already answered that question. Like depopulation, like the question is about why this person is so scared about depopulation. Like, why? Because she's scared about being a part of the one who's going to disappear, or what? Like, what scares her exactly? Like live your life, like right now, live your day right now. Be a good person, make the right choice. Stop feeding the beast. Okay, like stop making a 30 years loan to get a house. Like stop living on credit to give your money away to banks and. Like that's the thing. And then what's going to happen from there? Like, it's not really your choice. It's going to be everyone's choice. We're all going to collectively decide whether we deserve to survive or not. Because right now what we are showing is not pretty. It's absolutely not pretty. Like if the only difference between animals and human is the magnitude of the choice that can make, because there's no real difference between a chicken and a human. It's just that the chicken is limited in its capacity to make choice. And we claim to be capable of making more choice, but when we look at the choice that we're making, man, like it's scary. It's scary. We are limiting ourselves to make the choice that are so dumb and so limited and so reductive and so like selfish. You're like, wow, like you better have no choice. You know, an animal, at least you can blame him because it's like he doesn't have the choice. He just have instinct and very limited capacity to grow and learn. We have nearly infinite amount of capacity to learn, but look what we do with it. You know, like I would not be too scared about the population. I would be scared to live in a world that would be so filled with dumb people that it would be hell.
Well, that's what they're ultimately working on with transhumanism and the kleptocrats. And, you know, basically, I mean, I know you're aware of CERN and the high technological advances as far as nanotech and some certain life extension aspects to these situations. But once again, I want to remind those who are dabbling in transhumanism, if you're not correct spiritually, you will ultimately achieve a looping hell situation to where your consciousness probably will go on in some sort of format. That's what I'm saying. But that's not the natural state.
It seems that the dream of transhumanism, which is what really annoys me, is again about productivity. Like every time that you think about nanotechnology and stuff like that, it's about enhancing.
Yes.
As if human needed to be enhanced. You know, human is human. Like first of all, what is human? What is the human nature? What is the nature of your soul? What is the nature of your consciousness? Like when you start to answer the question, then you can even really think about, okay, how can I be a better human? And better mean what? Like more productive, more loving, more like if nanotechnology could allow people to be more loving people, more compassionate, I would sign up. I would say, yeah, great. But it seems that the only aspect of science that is used today is about making better slaves. And people doesn't even realize it. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be more clever. To do what? Oh, because then I'm going to make more money and I'm going to make more. I say, more of what? More of what? Like, what's the purpose of your existence? Being more? So you what? Like your exercise, like your computer, like you can store more information to do what? Is it going to improve your life? Are you going to be more happy? No, because the more you know, the more complex your existence becomes. Like the people who still don't realize that, oh yes, celebrities are great, they're famous, they're blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they're miserable. Rich people are the same. They're just miserable. They just live through that dream. They don't understand anything. At least the people who don't have a lot of money can value something. They can stop for a minute and value what they eat and value what they breathe, because they are human. When you get too much, you dehumanize yourself. However, like this is what everyone dreams of. And this is again propaganda, programmation, brainwashing. It's not life. Life is not being the biggest, the strongest. It's about being yourself. It's being in line with yourself.
Well, I think we all.
And it's ridiculous. Like if you had to ask Jesus, like, oh, do you want to die on a cross so you can become the biggest victim of history? Well, I'm not sure Jesus would have said yes. Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Like I'm going to be the biggest victim of the whole history. Well, do it right now. Just kill yourself. Remove, like, stop your misery and leave this place. Because if you still don't understand that it's not about more, it's about the quality, it's about the intensity, it's about what makes you human that is important, not what you possess, not what you want to achieve, not what you are going to take from others. It's about what you're going to live as an experience in the moment and the balance that it's going to bring around you. Because again, the more you're going to plant the seeds of love and compassion and freedom, the more you have a chance when you will come back in your next life to actually get access to all this beauty. But if you plant the seeds of anger, of hate, of jealousy, of selfishness and everything, when you're going to come back in the same hell.
that makes sense. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You sow what you reap what you sow. If you spend this whole life espousing hatred and fear, well then yes, those ideals will definitely amplify after you die and grow on to consume. You know, that's very similar to what the Unarius Academy of Science folks had to say. Basically, Celeste was saying that this life is basically the reason why you're living this life is directly related to the past transgression of your last life. Like if you're a chick basically getting beat up in this life, apparently the last life you was a dude beating the chick. So, you know, that kind of goes into the whole Hindu brain. Thank you. From my perspective, I do.
Well, it's not that much Hindu. Like there was a lot of text that has been removed from the Bible, and that was all talking about reincarnation, and those texts has been removed because if you let the people believe that they're going to have a second chance or a third chance, it's much more complicated to control them. Religion has been installed to control people. It hasn't been installed to educate, to free people, whatever. They have been there to control them. That's why religion is about bonding people. Okay, you bond them. We connect with you in such a way that we will not let you go, and that's what we call a sect. And the modern religion is nothing more than a sect that has been successful. That's it. So through that faith, which is that loyalty to the bondage, you can't escape until you realize that you are the only one who bonded yourself to that belief. Because belief is just an illusion. No belief exists. It's the difference between knowing and believing something. When you know something, you know it. You don't need to know how you know it, you just know it. When you believe something, there's always someone else. It's always coming from someone else. Someone else will ask you to believe them. Well, my perspective tells me that what I know is what I know. And as soon as someone is coming and saying, oh yeah, my perspective is true and yours is wrong, and that's when the big drama starts, you know, like your perspective is your perspective, and I honor it, I respect it, but I'm happy to be aware of it, but I had to make the decision to choose to embody it and to incorporate it in my life or not, and no one else than myself should make that choice. And that's the big issue with the religion today, is that when you grow up in a family, like all those emotions of guilt and anger and confusion are transferred to the children. And by doing this, we remove them the ability to even be capable of choosing whether or not if they wish to keep those emotions in themselves or not. Like let's just take like Adam and Eve. Like seriously, which sane mind will want to incorporate this into her daughter? That Eve fucked up, and because of that, humanity is cursed and everything. Who, on a sane mind, would want to bring that level of guilt and suffering in an innocent child? Because an innocent child doesn't know anything. Okay, so it's a white page. It's entirely programmable. So which program are you going to put in their brain? That they're not good enough? That they fucked up, that's their ancestors who belong to whatever race that you decide to define as feminine sexuality or whatever, like fucked up something that for whatever reason that she even tempted Adam. Adam fucked up actually. It's Adam who actually did the wrong thing. The only one that triggered that was the snake. But why is it Eve who has to carry the curse? Adam fucked up. It's not Eve. Like Eve listened to the snake tempted her, and she spoke to Adam, and Adam decided to listen to her. So he's like, well, Adam made the choice to listen to her, so he's responsible as well. But if you don't understand that, if you don't challenge it, you're going to curse your daughter to actually feel guilty of something that she never even feel connected to. You know, it's like, oh yeah, your parents were German, so therefore you're a Nazi. It's like, where this is coming from? This is so wrong. So wrong. And we carry billions of those things in our culture today. And until the people would just stop for a second and analyze one of them, one by one, and decide which one consciously I'm deciding to keep in my life, like that guilt, for example, of being a woman and blah, blah, blah. Do I really want to keep this today? Well, I'm not sure 100%. Seriously, I'm not sure that it's serving my life right now. or I'm Jew, so therefore I'm responsible for the death of Jesus because I didn't save him. Well, do I need that in my life? Well, I'm not sure. Like, am I really responsible for that because my grandfather or mother like didn't do what she should have done to save Jesus or blah blah blah? I'm not sure. I'm a Muslim. Oh well, like Muhammad killed some people, and I'm following him, but I don't really want to take like all that thing with me. I just want to take the best, which is compassion, which is loving, which is honoring your father and your mother, and be a good human being. Do I really need to take all the bad things? Like, until the people will choose what they want to bring in their life, when they need to incorporate in their existence, they will leave someone else's life. And this is the core of our problem today. So the problem is not that much about population or depopulation. It's about who are we being as being, like who do we decide every day to be, and how do we translate that through our actions every day.
And
that's what really matters.
Yes, 100%. I got one more question, once again from Sister Hunt. What happened when the Yellow Vests met with the Prime Minister? Was it good?
What happened with the Yellow Vest? What?
Did the Yellow Vests have a meeting with the Prime Minister?
No. The Yellow Vest, like the Prime Minister trying to bring some representative of the Yellow Vest, but the Yellow Vest doesn't have any representative, so it's fucked up. Like, they're not going to be having any conversation with the Yellow Vest, because the whole purpose of the Yellow Vest is to not having any conversation with anyone. We want the RIC. That's all we want. We don't want to discuss with whoever claimed to represent the population. We just want the right to trigger a national referendum from our own initiatives. No matter who you are, could be the Pope, you could be the Dalai Lama, you could be the Prime Minister, we don't care. We want that power back. We want the power to make the initiatives of our future laws and take a responsibility for our actions. And we want the capacity to make our own decisions and learn from our mistakes. And we don't have to negotiate with that. We take it because we are sovereigns.
Wow. Now that is what's terrifying to the 1%. What he just said right there.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is, because that's what they try to avoid for years, like avoiding people realizing that they have the choice. They have the choice. Like, for years they tried to convince everyone, no, you don't have the choice. You only have the choice that we give you. That's it. And as long as you believe that, that's fine. You're going to leave someone else's life.
But that's
you don't believe. You're going to leave someone someone else. You're going to leave someone else's life. Because you believe in you be the life of someone else. When you know you are in the now. You know, you are in the moment. When you know you are. When you believe, you leave someone else's life.
Spiritual. Follow the leader. So,
follow yourself.
Do you think, basically the mindset that you're describing tonight, do you think a lot of young Europeans from various countries, you know, from the UK all the way to Greece, do you think that they are taking hold of this mindset, or the traditional, you know, kind of Roman Catholic, you know, mindset?
I have no idea about the other culture. I can't really generalize young generation, because I don't know them that much. It's a question that I can't really answer, because this is something that is happening in an individual level first. That's what I would like to inspire others to realize, that there's nothing else than the individual. The individual is the ultimate boundaries between your inside world and your outside world. That's the unit. The unit of measurement is the individual, because that is that which cannot be divided. Okay, we cannot divide the individual. Like, if I cut an arm from you, you would still be an individual. If I cut a leg from you, you would still be an individual. If I cut your head, then that's it. There's no more individual. You see what I mean?
Yes.
The individual is the unit of measurement. Okay, then the individual can come together and create groups. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's the individual that needs to predominate on every choice. Okay, and if the individual is connected to the land, then that's called nationalism. The individual wants the land, is attached to the culture, it's attached to the history, it's attached to the language, and that's what individuals want. They want to leave something, to start somewhere, and to grow in the journey.
Yes.
And the globalism is trying to make everyone feel guilty about that. They try to make everyone feel guilty that when you're attached to your land, you should be ashamed of it, because it's so much better when you can travel all around the world. Yes, of course. It's great to go and travel. When traveling is equivalent to becoming liberal, so therefore, like, no one can control where products are coming from, and it's only serving the ultra rich because they are the only one who can make margin bigger from exploiting poor people.
Exactly.
So it's not bringing any ethic in any way, shape, or form. So, like, your individual should actually realize that and say, well, my interest is to help my community. So the more local I can support my community, the better it is. And if for that I need to have less technology because I will not import product from China that will be based on metal that has been taken from Africa and children who works in mines and everything, well, I'm sure I can survive without the last iPhone. That's okay. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
This is definitely a threat, yeah. Because we got to understand, we at this particular point in time in human history, we should all be quite aware of this, that what Roman is suggesting is a part of the greater paradigm shift in the consciousness of the globe in general, where the power is seized by the people to benefit all the people. But there's always the gatekeepers, there's always the emperors, the kings, the prime ministers, chancellors. The list goes on. But those people, honestly, guys, will win.
Yeah, and it's going to happen because this is the end of time. Like, we're living the end of time, and the end of time is going to be a massive awakening about not only the nature of this reality and the structure of this reality, but also the nature of who we are, and how amazing we are, and how beautiful we are. And when people will realize all this and the big healing will start, then it's going to go very quick. It's going to be contagious.
See, this is what I was asking about, because,
it's already happening, by the way. Like, if I can just share one private information with your audience, my research for the last 10 years brought me to discovering some things, some new paradigm shift in mathematics, essentially. And I can share now that in a few months ago, a publication has been made that is right now disrupting the whole scientific community, because one of the biggest mystery of modern science, which was the unpredictability of prime numbers up to infinity, has been cracked through a mathematics paradigm that I developed probably 5 or 6 years ago. And when I discovered that initially, I was like, well, I don't even understand what it means, because it's so new, so big, so different, so paradigm shifting that I can't even comprehend what is going to change. It's actually based on non-decimal mathematics. And now we actually come to a point where, by extrapolating on this theory, we actually ending up understanding that we can predict prime numbers up to infinity. And some people will say, yeah, and so what? Well, when you realize that all the encryption system on Earth, every single encryption system on Earth was based on that mathematic paradigm that we could not predict prime numbers. What it literally said is that today we have the power to hack any encrypted information on Earth.
That's right. Dude, do you understand what you just said? You have, not you personally.
I do. I don't know if people does, but and this has been released. This has been published a few months ago in big American universities, and it's a huge earthquake because it's challenging every aspect of our understanding of science. Because the way it's operating is based on a whole different realization of the nature of reality, the nature of time, the nature of space, the nature of oscillation, wave, frequency, music, and everything. And when this is going to be integrated and regurgitated, it's going to challenge all our belief system and all our paradigm perception. And it's going to have some direct effect. which is to challenge the encryption system, because currently the encryption system could, like, for those who have access to supercomputers like quantum computers and stuff like that, which are only governments and very wealthy private entities, hacking information was something that could be done it was just a question of time, like a question of months or years, and you would have been able to hack this. With the new understanding of what prime numbers are and the nature of them, and there's still a lot of things that needs to be discovered, we can now hack what would have taken months and years in just a few minutes, and anyone would be able to do it, with or without a supercomputer or quantum computer, which actually mean that the whole banking system, the whole government system are in danger.
Yes. Nuclear codes or launch codes are in danger.
Yeah, everything is in danger. So it's going to be a massive shift, because first of all, we'll have to use a new encoding system that will protect information in such a way that no one, and I say no one would be able to hack it. Okay, including the NSA, including the government, including the wealthy people. Okay, and that's what we're working on right now, putting in place a system that will guarantee the integrity of information at every level. Okay, and that will bring back everything into balance. Okay, not just the rich and powerful, but everyone will get access to true sovereignty, because this is what this is all about.
Yes, you're talking about a game change, but that's only as long as it's used for sovereign applications. You're talking about game changer. But if it's used for more of a tyrannical oppressive, then you're talking about the last nail in the coffin.
And this is when this to happen in people's hearts. Like when people are fed up to face injustice, like the whole banking system, for example, which is profoundly unfair, the way it's operated. Not the question of the non-attachment to gold or whatever. It's just the fact that money is created attached to a debt. That is something that is completely unnatural. And for that, you need to go a little bit deep into the understanding of what money is and how money is perceived, and what money represents, and what is the notion of value, and how value can be tinted or colored by debt, and what's the meaning of that in your own relationship with reality. And that, as most of the people doesn't even do that effort to understand all this, they use the system not knowing that every time that they are using that system, they are actually increasing the pain.
Yes.
And this needs to stop. We need to be creative. We need to think outside of the box and produce a new system that will completely cancel that cancer that we call money debt.
See, that's the kicker. That's the part, because the debt is our basically control mechanism now. You know, you're going to get up.
Yeah, the slavery system is based on that. Like, we have something like $800 trillion debt. When we say we, like the slave, have $800 trillion debt to who? Who do we owe this money to?
The central banks of the world.
The guys who put the system in place. That's it. We owe $800 trillion of debt to people who create a system. Does it sound fair to you?
No, it does not.
Okay, so what's the point talking about anything else? What's the point talking about like nanotechnology, or talking about depopulation system? Like, what's the point talking about all about that? Until one human on this planet will be ignorant of the scam that represent that money debt, there's absolutely no point talking about anything else.
There is a point, though, if you really look at it, Roman. Talking about all that got us to this.
No, because we're wasting our energy. We're wasting our energy by doing this. We're wasting our energy by talking about Trump, or talking about like politics, about transhumanism and all that. We're wasting our energy because we're not attacking the cause.
True. And I have gone many times on the central banks on past shows. I'm totally with you on, if we want to get to the root of the cause of most social ills, if not all, dare I say, it is an economic aspect. And this aspect is debt, both communal and personal, meaning national debt and individual debt. The only way to change that, my friend, and you know what I'm about ready to say, and I really don't want to say because I don't want to get banned on YouTube or nothing. But there's really only one way to solve that particular problem, and I don't think the world is quite ready just yet, my friend, to take such a drastic and permanent stance on that issue.
I'm not sure the world is that far from that. Like, the world is really fed up with injustice and inequality and all the pain that we are imposing on ourselves. And I think that the world is ready for change. They are ignorant, they're scared, of course, they're fearful, of course, because every change is uncertain, bringing lots of uncertainty, and that's okay. I can tell you, like, if the change is happening, if the rick is only moving forwards in people's heart, and that people realize that it's time for them to stand for their opinion and to educate themselves and to grow and to manifest a better future for everyone, like, it's not going to take that long to actually bring the solution, because the solution is already there, just waiting for us to be ready to implement them.
But people don't have the. I don't know about the folks in France. I'm telling you, the folks here in these United States of America, they are not trying that. They all they want, I'm telling you right now, all they want is to be able to watch their stupid little TV shows, eat their cheeseburgers on the weekends, drink their whiskey, drink their beer, pop a few pills, and ride around town. That's the only thing that they want to do. They don't want freedom. In fact, most, I will argue, is quite happy as long as they're on the upper half of the credit score. Now, our credit score. But Sister Hunt says that there was concerns that the Yellow Vest was just a movement of mercenaries to incite a civil war in France. Any truth to that you know of being there?
Well, sorry, I continue.
Sister Hunt asked another question. She said basically the Yellow Vests were supposedly mercenaries being used to start a civil war in France.
She think the Yellow Vest are mercenaries in charge? Is that the question?
Yes, like they're basically the opposition force to, I guess, the powers.
Where did you hear that? Where this is coming from?
Well, you gotta understand. A lot of people over here aren't. You know what I mean? I would almost say,
all right, so she's not informed. Okay, so the Yellow Vests are nothing more than mums and dads who are fed up of complying with the system, the current system, the way it is, and they decided to protest until the system change. Okay, they're not nursery, they're just mums and dads who are fed up of waiting for someone else to fix the situation, and they're just starting to take responsibility for it.
So there it is. I mean, so it's just common folks. It's just the regular people from down the street, up the way. Or like you said, there's really no organization. There is no leader of the Yellow Vest.
No, it's just people who are working 40 hours a week. That's what's coming. They have to dig deep because this system is insane. The system is driving us insane, like a money debt system will only stop when every human being would be a slave. And that's okay. That's they already have planned. They have planned to replace people by other people. They plan to replace the old white people from Europe by fresh Muslim and black people from Africa. They are going to be happy to work for $5 an hour or $3 an hour, $1 an hour. And that's it. And they create that mess in this country so the people would be happy to migrate and work and be good slave, like that's the whole plan.
See, that's
what they plan for America as well. Like that's why they delocalize all the businesses in China, so there will be no value created in America, and the Chinese will get more powerful until one day the American will have to work for $5 an hour, $3 an hour, $1 an hour, and if not, then you're gonna end up in the streets. And that's it.
And people see that coming. I got another question from Alpha, the first one. Ask him about Alan West, if that makes any sense. Do you know Alan West?
I don't know who he is.
Okay, there he is, Alpha. He doesn't have any knowledge on that. And then Miss Hunt said that yes, she basically read that in the newspaper last year about the mercenary story. See, we got to understand the reason why they're going to basically defame and distort the yellow vest folks. They don't want this ideology to catch on in other nations. They want to localize it just to France, because what he's talking about, the spirit of what he's talking about, is true sovereign freedom. True freedom.
Yeah, just to give a few numbers, there's 10,000 people who has been arrested over the last 4 months. 10,000 people. There has been 3,000 people injured by police. Okay, 3,000 people who has been injured. Well, 400 people who has been badly injured. And badly injured mean skull trauma, loss of an eye, loss of hands, loss of foot, coma. That's what we call badly injured. 400 people. And if your media doesn't share any of this information, well, you know that you have to throw out your TV, because they're just garbage. They don't tell you the truth. They don't want people to realize that some people somewhere on earth, from a very peaceful and democratic place, decided to take the streets and are ready to suffer the consequences. And they don't want you to know that. They want you to believe that they are paid people, because it's so much easier to believe that, so you can continue to be a good slave, not having to ask any question, not making any rebellion.
Every time you say that word, man, it's like, I hope people are getting what you're really saying, because he's saying truth. You're a wage slave, you're a debt slave. Either way, you're still just a slave. Used to be
you're not sovereign. You're not a sovereign being. You're still working for someone else. You still have to pay your taxes. You have to be the bitch of someone else.
Yes.
And for how long? For how long are we going to manufacture bitches and enslave our children to be the same? How long? For how long are we going to perpetuate that system?
No longer. I mean, I'm certainly not participating in that particular endeavor, because I value freedom. I value humanity. I would almost, surmise to say righteousness. And what I mean by righteousness, dealing with people fairly. Not having regulators millions of miles trying to tell you how to live your life, because literally everything you do in the United States of America is regulated, from your mattress to the tags on your shirts and pants. I mean, everything's regulated over here. So we're basically a nanny state. Well, we are. We've been arrested, developed. Many of our males or our men are contemplating becoming women. We have families that don't teach familyhood no more. No, like you said, they basically just teach their children how to be proper, good slaves. Make good grades, never question authority, accept authority blindly. It's like the religion aspect has been replaced with the social side of the government, the civil engineering side.
Exactly.
And this has to stop. It didn't work for the church, and it will not work for the state in that capacity. The state only has one goal, in my opinion, and that is to provide common defense for the citizens. And when, like, we have an earthquake or tornadoes or hurricane or something, then the government can organize rescuers to go into the region and repair and rebuild. But they should not.
Yeah, we saw how they did a great job during the Louisiana tornado and Katrina. Like, we saw the great job that they did. Like, those guys are fucking incompetent at every level of magnitude we can imagine. So that's why we need to replace that system with a system by the people for the people. And this can only be made by the people themselves. Okay, not whatever prick billionaire psychotic that believes that he knows better than you. This cannot work. It cannot work. It needs to come from us. Because intelligence is a collective principle.
Yes.
It's a principle that doesn't belong to one person. One person can become a genius. A genius will never rule a country. It's the people who's going to rule the country themselves.
Right. But they will.
The people who believe that they're going to be able to represent all the people are only psychopaths. That's it. Just psychopaths. They're all idiots or psychopaths or both.
Idiotic psychopaths. Oh my God.
Yeah, like who sanely could believe that it can manage billions of other human beings? Who can sanely believe that he's intelligent enough, clever enough, wise enough to actually control others' life? Like, I can't even control my wife's life.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, how would I believe I can control 200 other million people?
You have to have an ego the size of the moon.
Exactly. That's what I mean by psychopaths. Psychopaths are people who believe that they can control others' life. That's fine. No, it's not. The only person that can control my own life is myself. That's it.
Right. And I want to go one step farther. If you cannot control your own life or think for yourself, Roman, then how the hell can you vote to elect someone to do that job for you?
And that's the beauty of the RIC. Like, the only argument that people can say is that, oh, well, if people had to make their own decision, they can't do that because they're too stupid. So, well, what makes you believe that if they're not too stupid to make their own decision, they will not be stupid enough to vote for you?
See,
that's the thing. If all the people are clever enough to manage themselves, or they're too stupid, but if you take the chance that people are too stupid, then therefore we are all screwed. Because if they're too stupid, they will always vote for the most stupid person ever.
Well. Look around at some of the political figures in office, and, well, I guess we can deduce the situation on the intellect level right there. But that's not the end of the story. As long as we have lives in these vessels, as long as we have energy in our muscles, and we understand the significance of living now, we can change this. And we could. But
and we will.
More people have to hear
this. And we will, yeah. It will take time, it will take energy, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, yes, it's definitely going to happen. You know, I mean, there's really not much more time left before they start building the third temple in Israel. And once they build that third temple, well, it's pretty much game time.
Well, we'll see.
Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I have to get some sleep because I got to get my babies up for school in the morning in about 5 hours. But I had to take this opportunity. I know you just texted me on Facebook, but I had to take this opportunity to get you back on the show while I could, Roman. And I'm so thankful that you did take some time and shared, especially the mathematical paradigm information about encryptions. So please, folks, be very, very careful about the information you elect to send over these internet wires. Please, please, please. I don't want to see people getting in trouble. Okay, so Roman, you have anything else to add, or you want to say anything else?
Well, thanks for getting to me. Like, sorry if I'm not really available. Like, I'm going to try to be a bit more available in the future, but I'm just trying to put my life back in order. And yeah, thanks for bringing back into the show.
Look, hopefully we'll have you on many, many more times throughout the year. I mean, I know there's going to be more exciting things coming up, but I do want to also continue on with this, with the perception conversation we kind of had tonight, to try to get people to think, even if they don't agree with what you're saying, or maybe they don't fully understand it or grasp the full concept. Just hearing these words, listening to the conversation, it will spark your mind and maybe inspire you to think. And that's all we're here to do. Well, thank you, Roman. And I will be talking to you later, brother.
My pleasure. Have a good one.
You too.
Take care.
Wow, everybody, that was a great report. I'm going to definitely post that up. Like I said, I just took the opportunity to get Roman on the show while I had him. I know that was a different than normal show, but like I said, it's all about the conversation. It's all about getting it from all points of views. I'm sure there's some things that he shared with us that you was not aware of, especially things concerning the yellow vest and other things. But as always, folks, live your life with integrity. Oh, by the way, this is April 17th, 2019, the year of our Lord. TPIM, SR Live, your host, True Power's Mind. That was Roman Light, our guest. But as always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace.